Welcome to matforme.com, Muscle Activation Techniques for the Human Body. My name is Michael Massinelli, and today we're going to talk about some of the issues behind the reasons why we're taught to stretch. Now, there is a top 10 list of reasons why we should stretch online, and the ones we're going to discuss are from an entity that has established themselves as the Exercise Council here in America, someone who really should know what they're talking about when it comes to what they're talking about. So we're going to start with reason number one, and it is decreased muscle stiffness and increased range of motion. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this tube to represent muscle. Now, decreased stiffness. Really what this is how much tension is needed to move this object, this joint where the tube and the hand meet. How much tension is needed to move this joint from point A to point B. Now what I'm going to have him demonstrate is I'm going to have him grab one handle, like this one, right there. Okay, so now there's 4 tubes, but he's going to grab one. I'm having him pull one only, and now pull this. So this was demonstrating a low muscle stiffness. It did not take much effort for him to move this joint from point A to point B. Now bring it back up. Now grab a second handle. Now again, without moving, pull. Okay, so now we double the resistance, so it takes a little bit more effort from him to move. So we're going to add in the next handle. Bring it up. Okay, now pull it again. Okay, now when there's all 4 here, he's unable to move this as far as he was the second time or the first time. So relax yourself. So let's use this as an example. If you were hanging from a cliff, how many tubes would you rather have holding you up? 1, 4, or more? So the more you have there holding you together, holding you up, the more stable you'll be. Now, the fact that he cannot move this now from point A to point B, there is now this tightness. Now, we didn't shorten the tube, all we did was add in more tubes. Now, whose fault is it that he cannot move the joint now from point A to point B? Do you think it's really because it's tight? Well, if I help him, it'll move. So it's got nothing to do with how tight the tube is. In every stretch, there is a lengthening side and there is a shortening side. In the fitness world, in the stretching world, we're saying, this is too tight to move, so we need to loosen the tightness. So in order to loosen this up so I can move, I'm going to take the hand away from you again. Now pull. Well, now we can move easier, but we're still having problems reaching the end of motion. So let's decrease muscle stiffness, decrease the tension that it takes to move this from point A to point B, and now pull. So now he can move. Now we have the motion, but what did we do? We took the strong side and made it match the weak side. Why not take the weak side and strengthen it up? The things that move it get better at moving to make it stronger. Let the weak side match the strong side. So grab them all again. So the things that are tight are not the issue. The things that are moving you, they are not able to move you. There is a lengthening and a shortening to every stretch. If the things that are preventing you from moving are tight, it's not their fault. It may be the things that move you not able to do their job. So again, we want to get the things that move you better at moving you versus the things that are preventing you worse at holding you there. So again, getting the movers, the things that move you, better at moving, and they will let you move. So that was point 1. So reason number 2 in the top 10 reasons for stretching is to reduce your risk of injury. Again, we're going to use this tube to represent the muscle, the blue being the belly of the muscle, and the strap being the tendon of the muscle. Now again, we're trying to reduce the risk of injury. Now how far can I stretch this tube before it snaps? Okay, so much further than this, and I'm going to start tearing something. This will allow for returnable motion up until the end of its elasticity. Once it reaches the end of elasticity, it becomes plastic. So it'll go until it stops moving and still be okay to return back. This will be a temporary strain on this material. If I keep going to where it turns plastic and then keep pulling, it becomes a permanent deformation / strain on this material. So again, it'll only go so far. It'll go until it stops moving. And then if I keep pulling it, that's when things go wrong. So what is every stretch that we've ever been taught? It's take it to where it cannot move anymore and then force it further. We take this into where it cannot move anymore and then we try to force it further. Everything we do is take it to where it can't move and try to force it. Take it to where it can't move and then try to force it. So it sounds like we're actually increasing the risk of injury because this thing will not tear as long as I stay within its elastic properties. It's only when I get to where it's plastic that it will tear. So reason number 3, helps prevent post-exercise aches and pains. Now, delayed onset muscle soreness, so DOMS. So you've worked out probably more than what the body was prepared for, and you've created the microscopic tears needed to develop muscle, and now it's time to recover. Now, picture this for a second. You've got 102 temperature. How are you going to respond to 102 temperature? Pretty much you're going to be achy all over, you're going to be in bed, roll up in a ball, not wanting to do very much so that you can conserve energy so that you can recover, right? Well, how would you feel with your 102 temperature, achy, roll up in bed, if somebody got you out of bed and started forcing you to do something? So a damaged muscle needs time to repair, and it may temporarily shorten so that it can conserve energy, so that it can repair itself. Now, have you ever seen somebody do so many bicep curls that their hand is stuck in this position, stuck here by their shoulder? No. Every curl has a lengthening and a shortened position. So we are getting the stretch, even though we're still doing a bicep curl, even just 2, we're still doing the bicep curl. We have a shortening of the muscle and we have a lengthening of the muscle. Every exercise has a lengthening and a shortened position. So to think that I'm going to do so many curls that I'm stuck here is ridiculous. Now, if you want to argue that, yeah, it's not the fully lengthened position, which is back here, well, this is not the fully shortened position either. Because the fully shortened position for the bicep, the elbow flexors, are where's here. Now, if you cannot achieve full elbow extension due to delayed onset muscle soreness, it will go away. The only reason someone may not be able to reach full elbow extension, or what we consider to be normal 180 degrees elbow extension, is 1, if this area of the joint is injured for whatever reason, and it needs time to repair it before it will allow it to go back into that position. 2, if there is joint deformation, if you are born with something that creates this inability to move there. And 3, the muscles that either create the motion to get there, the muscles that allow the motion to get there, or the muscles that stabilize the joint so that it can get there, they may not be working together to allow you to get to full elbow extension. Now, this may be damaged from the curls because you'll see time and time and again people in the gym doing these curls, and they go so fast they wind up dropping the weight and catching it, creating extra tension or unaccounted for stress in the joint in this position, and maybe damaging the joint itself and or the ligament or the tendon / muscle in this position. So if it's damaged in this position, the body's going to shorten up so that it can repair itself. But yet, again, we're taught to take something and grab it and start forcing it to move because we think that we should have this 4-inch motion. Maybe not.